In helping people transition from retirement, one of the main issues that comes up is how to go from regular monthly paychecks from your employer to supporting your lifestyle to your various investment and retirement assets once you make that plunge into retirement. With that, we've created this concept of a retirement income machine that provides for that ongoing support on a regular basis to support you and your family's lifestyle. The first step of a retirement income machine is that concept of taking a retirement paycheck. What this means is even though you're no longer working, you still want to regularly have a paycheck, so a monthly withdrawal coming from your investment accounts that covers those ongoing regular expenses that occur month in, month out. For example, paying your mortgage payments, grocery bills, vacation, eating out, travel. You want to have something regularly coming in the door so you're not feeling like you have to permission yourself every time you want to spend money. And so by doing so and setting aside that regular monthly withdrawal, retirement paycheck, that really empowers you to keep your lifestyle and spend as you've been doing without having to overanalyze every single payment. On top of that, while most of these expenses regularly happen on an ongoing basis, every year you're going to have month to month expenses that are not so regular. For example, whether it's buying a new vehicle, doing that bucket list retirement trip for your wedding anniversary, helping out kids with the down payment, whatever it may be, there's going to be things throughout the year that come up that are outside of that monthly cadence. It just comes down to combining those regular monthly payments with one-off expense withdrawals as needed. And the benefit of that is rather than having money sitting in your bank account earning next to nothing, when you're not going to need it for 3 or 4 or 18 months, you're able to access those funds as needed. So it's earning in the meantime, but still liquid and available to support those lifestyle needs. And so step one of the retirement income machine is figuring out that cadence in that regular retirement paycheck makes a huge difference in peace of mind and having a nice, smooth transition to retirement. From there, once figuring out the mechanics of a retirement paycheck, next we need to decide how much do we need? What are those cash needs on a monthly basis? And the best way to go about that is to map out your regular spending needs and see what do we expect a normal month to look like. While things are going to vary a bit month to month, especially as you have more capacity and time in retirement, it's still a great exercise to look at what have I been spending and use it as a starting point. And we don't think it's so much as a budget plan rather than a spending plan. This is intended to empower you to decide, what do I want my lifestyle to be? What do I want to have room to spend on? And then that way we could plan accordingly. So completing a quick 1-2 page spending worksheet, laying out what those goals are and spending plans in retirement is a great starting point to mapping out that strategy. For those that say, that sounds great, but that's going to take me a weekend, I don't have time to do this tomorrow. A good starting point is you could look at, while I was working after taxes, retirement savings, all these miscellaneous items, what was actually hitting my bank in a normal month? And did that match my needs? Commonly, as we work with retirees that are going through this exercise, we'll kick off with saying, hey, let's at least keep your bank cash flow, so what has been coming in each month, the same, and then we can adjust and build off that accordingly. So that's a nice shortcut as you work through the spending map exercise. Upon determining what are my needs on a monthly and annual basis, what do I need coming in the door, the next step is to map out that variety of income streams that you have lined up in retirement. While not a paycheck per se, as if you're working, there are a lot of income streams that many of us overlook. Between deferred compensation plans that are set to pay out over retirement, continuing stock vests that may happen, for example, RSU, restricted stock unit awards that continue to vest over the early years of retirement. You may have a pension, Social Security benefits is another real estate income. These are all income streams that aren't going to represent all of your spending requirement, but are still going to be a key piece and get you there largely in terms of what your spending needs are on a regular basis. As you can see on the chart here, early in retirement, that composition is going to be different. So for many folks may not take Social Security right away. They may delay till full retirement age or age 70 or have one spouse start it. And so once that does flip on, that's a considerable component of your income picture. Before Social Security, however, you likely will be needing to take a larger withdrawal from your investment accounts to bridge that difference. And this is normal. So, putting together a puzzle and mapping out what those different income streams look like over time will help you decide how to access your investment accounts and support that retirement income picture. From there, the next step is, where do I take these withdrawals from? What's that look like? And so this is where we like this term called the gap years. The gap years essentially represents those early years in retirement where you have not started Social Security, you are not required to take RMDs, required minimum distributions yet based on your age. And so essentially, while it could be a little unnerving going into these early retirement years with next to no income, it's also a blank canvas where, from a tax perspective, you are going to start the year in the lowest, if not the lower levels of tax rates. And so these gap years are great opportunities to be accessing your accounts, taking withdrawals, doing tax planning at a very low and efficient income level from a tax perspective. So, this is a big deal in terms of mapping out your strategy. As part of this, withdrawal location is key. And so when we think of your different investment savings, some of your accounts, 401ks, deferred comp, IRAs, those are tax deferred. So when the money comes out, it's all taxed as ordinary income. Other accounts you have, such as your stock accounts, where your stock awards vest, with those are taxable accounts. And so while you do pay the tax on the gains when you sell investments, that is only on the gains, the taxable piece, and it tends to be at a lower capital gains rate rather than the higher ordinary income tax rate. And so this is a component as we're thinking about how to take retirement income, where do we take it from, how do we generate those funds, is putting together a game plan on how to work all your accounts in cohesion and make sure you're getting the most tax efficient strategy there. In terms of mechanics, we love this concept of a feeder account. And basically, what that means is, rather than you taking $1,000 withdrawal here, $2,000 withdrawal there, your RMD, required minimum distribution here from an inherited account, and having all these various streams coming in, we like the idea of having all your income withdrawals coming from a feeder, so a non retirement account. And then behind the scenes, we're able to decide how to take those inherited retirement draws. When do I take money from my 401k or my IRA? Do I, do a Roth conversion at some point? And so that's all happening under the hood. And the beauty of this is we're able to send you a retirement withdrawal that matches the exact amount you need. So like a paycheck, you're getting this one income stream, and we could turn it up or turn it down as you desire, as well as really control the tax ramifications behind it. And so this is a great way to set up that retirement income and help you have a nice, straightforward way to take withdrawals without a lot of confusion and complexity in there. So, as we've gone over how much to take, where to take it from, the tax considerations with that, it's always critical to keep an eye on the future when doing income planning because it goes hand in hand with tax planning. For example, we brought up the gap years. So, in those gap years, when you're in a very low tax bracket, while one option is just to pay next to nothing in tax and really minimize it, the other option is, should I be doing Roth conversions? If I've accumulated a lot of company stock in a Microsoft or an Amazon, for example, should I do some sales at even a 0% tax rate or a very low 15% tax rate? So there's a lot of different levers you can pull specifically in those early retirement years, as well as leading up to retirement. An example here is that once you're retired and you are on your own health insurance, either through Medicare or the private platforms such as Washington Health Plan Finder, where you're getting your own insurance through those different carriers that are contributing. In addition to taxes, your income also dictates what your health insurance premiums will be. And so in this chart here, for example, this shows what are called the Medicare IRMA premiums. So as you get into age 65 and on Medicare, And really, the Medicare IRMA calculation happens 2 years prior, so age 63. Essentially, Medicare looks at your tax return income, and based on which level you're at, there's an extra surcharge which acts similar to a tax that can be applied. So, for example, for a couple married filing jointly that has over 212,000 of income, that's going to result in an extra $2,100 a year of health insurance premium. The highest end of this chart, as you can see, can be another $12,700 a year per couple. And this is on Medicare. On top of that, before Medicare, I mentioned, the private exchanges, Washington Health Plan Finder. With that, it could get very expensive based on your income, where everybody starts out with a subsidy essentially that keeps your health insurance premiums low. But as your tax return income grows, your gross income levels, that will result in the subsidy falling off. And in many cases, it could be astronomical how much your health insurance costs. By doing some strategic moves to give yourself tax flexibility, what that allows is for you to, once you step into retirement, be able to control your income on your tax return, which will not only save you on taxes, but health insurance premiums potentially as well. So these are some key strategies in those late years of working, as well as the early years in retirement, to really look to maximize. With that retirement income machine, having determined how much money to take out, where to take it from, different tax strategies to consider, the next piece is we need to make sure your investment strategy aligns with your income strategy. This all starts with what we call the war chest, where essentially, as you're taking out income every month from your investments, we want to be taking it from those more steady Eddie, income oriented investments rather than your more volatile growth investments, which allows us to avoid having to sell when the stocks are down, for example. And so, again, this all goes back to we want to be looking to sell when items are at a high rather than at a low, as well as buy when at a low rather than a high. And that goes hand in hand with the concept having to take withdrawals and making sure your investment strategy supports such. In terms of how to do that in practice, aligning your investments to your income plan, we like to think of it as time horizons. You could almost view it as a bucket approach, where on one hand, you have your most conservative investments, which is where you take your withdrawals month to month. Again, it's going to be less growth, but less volatile and more income oriented. And that money is there when you need it. You know it's going to be there. On the other range, we have your more growth investments. These are going to be more powerful, but more volatile over time. And that's okay because if we don't need to access those funds for 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 years, it's okay if they're volatile and move around, as long as we're targeting for the money to be worth higher and worth more when you need it than it is today. And so on a year-to-year basis, as we're taking withdrawals out of the conservative bucket, in years where we have gains in the market, we could take some of those gains to refill those income investments, which is where your withdrawals are coming. And going back to that last example, this builds into that withdrawal plan where we are automatically building in a rebalancing mechanism where we're taking gains from the growth investments when they're there, so selling at a high, and then refilling those income buckets automatically in a way that allows us to have a really strong plan that supports that income strategy. And so it all works hand in hand and works together as we think about meshing retirement income with your investments. So as we go through this, everyone's situation is personalized to them. And so it's important that everybody has a custom withdrawal and income and investment plan strategy that meets their needs. As a next step, we recommend going to our website, www.stablerwealthmanagement.com, and clicking that big button on the top right that says Let's Talk, and schedule a session with one of our certified financial planners to review the income plan that is right for you. We look forward to hearing from you and tuning into our session and hope to talk to you soon. Thanks again for taking the time.